Combat. The name says it all. I'm Hakeem Branch.
Rob Jarrell.
And today we're going to recap this past Saturday's Showtime World Championship Boxing, which was a triple header, which had Danny Jacobs versus Jared Fletcher, Lamont Peterson versus Edgar Santana, and Danny Garcia versus Garcia-Salka. Now in our preview video, we didn't even mention the Danny Jacobs fight, so we're just going to keep that going. He did win a world title for the first time and became the first cancer survivor to win a world title. So shout outs to him.
Through a knockout in the 5th round.
Yes, but we're going to go into the two fights that we did talk about, which were Peterson, Santana, and Garcia-Salka. Neither of which went the distance. We all knew they were showcase fights, but both guys did some things that we really liked, so we're going to talk about it. Start us off, Rob.
All right, the first bout with Lamont Peterson versus Edgar Santana was actually what we thought was going to be a fairly tough fight for Peterson as long as it lasted. And what do we want to look out for? That body work. And that's exactly what we got. We got Peterson starting off with some boxing, then it turned into a phone booth fight. Then you saw left hook after left hook to the body. And it was a thing of beauty.
Yes, you guys know I love some body work. I think Mikey Garcia will be a top pound-for-pound fighter if he threw to the body a little bit more. That's neither here nor there. Because Lamont Peterson, he goes to the body. He goes to the body hard, and he goes to the body often. Now, Peterson is known as more of a boxer that can slug, and you saw that early on in the fight. Edgar Santana does have some power. He built his name up on the Broadway boxing circuit with Lou DiBella. That's where I heard of him from. I saw a few of his fights. The guy's pretty good. He wasn't really world level, but he had power. He was very sturdy, and we thought that he would provide Peterson with some good rounds to go through, even though he would eventually lose. I didn't think he'd get stopped, but I thought that he'd pretty much lose like a wide decision to Peterson. Mm-hmm. So, hats off to Peterson for getting the stoppage, but also shout outs to Paulie Malignaggi for actually admitting that Edgar Santana dropped him during sparring. That's something you don't hear a lot of fighters say, actually giving a fighter props in sparring, because that's more of a closed door thing, and a lot of times what happens in those sessions aren't supposed to get out. But that was helping to lend credibility to Edgar Santana and his chances with Lamont Peterson, who we know to have a cold chin because he's been down 7 times, all in the first 3 rounds of the fight.
That's right.
So Edgar Santana posed a big threat early, which Peterson neutralized by moving, boxing, pumping that jab, and pretty much being a general through those first few rounds. Afterwards, he said, I think I've sapped enough of his power. I'm going to take it to him. He started digging those body shots. He started working upstairs, combinations. And what I really loved is that he cut angle after angle after angle all night. He would step to either Santana's left or right and rip another shot. He used a lot of head movement. He used lateral movement. Sometimes he used it to showboat. I mean, not the most appealing thing to most people, but he had handcuffed Santana enough to where he could do that. So that was a good thing for Peterson. Santana did tag him a few times, and he responded well, as we saw from previous fights in his career. I mean, Tim Bradley fight, he got tagged early and went down and couldn't get dropped again. Victor Ortiz, same thing. Mm-hmm. Amir Khan, the only person who got to him and finished him was Lucas Matisse. And I mean, that's Lucas Matisse, so you know, that's how that goes.
It happens.
Right. So what does he do from here? He wants Danny Garcia. I think that's a good fight for him and Garcia, but we'll see what happens. They're both talking about moving up to 147, so I don't know if it's going to happen or not. Maybe they do it at like 143 or something like that.
I would pay to see that fight too. That is a great fight not only on paper but definitely in the ring. You'll see one guy dig it to the body with left hooks to the body. You'll see the other guy going upstairs with vicious left hook, and we'll see who wins that battle.
Yes. And speaking of Danny Garcia, the main event was Danny Garcia versus Lightning Rod Salka. Now, we talked about how Salka was a smaller fighter, how he was brought in as a lamb to be slaughtered, and it was up to Danny to slaughter that lamb. He got slaughtered.
Big time.
Yes. But Danny Garcia did some great things in setting up that slaughter. Punched over his jab. Salka had a good jab and he was using it, and Danny took it away early by punching right over top of it. He started feigning downstairs before throwing the hook upstairs. That was another very good thing. The one thing I don't like, even though Danny Garcia has a very, very, very good left hook, a lot of times you see him throwing it and not really looking at his target. I don't really like that, because if you got somebody who's smart, they can kind of bait him into throwing that hook and counter him, or like turn and counter him. But really, I think there's maybe only 2 people in the division that's really going to take advantage of that, because when he hits people with that left hook, they get hurt.
Bad.
Yeah, and as we saw from Salka, he was down and out for a long time. I mean, even when they got him up off the canvas and tried to get him onto the stool, like maybe a minute or 2 after the fight ended, he was still hurt. So, hats off to Danny Garcia. Did what he was supposed to do. Now, hopefully he can get back into the frying pan, because he's been fighting the who's who over the past 3 or 4 years. So let's just keep the ball going. Anything?
Nothing else. I mean, he's going to 147, and just keep in mind there are some killers at 147. There are some great fights at 147, and you got other people moving up to 147 and actually moving to 140, like Terrence Crawford. But you'll see. I hope to see Lamont Peterson and Danny Garcia, if not on HBO Boxing, as a co-main event on, say, a pay-per-view with Canelo or something, because I think that would be an awesome card.
Yes. That's it for this episode, guys. Hope you liked it. If you got anything to say, the comment section is below. You can hit us up on Facebook, Capital of Combat. Google Plus, same name. If you want to shoot us an email, you can hit us up at capitalcombat@gmail.com. We can put you in the combat mailbag. And we'll catch you guys in the next episode. Peace.
This is round 1 and you've already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we've done is coming and gone. My fists are on fire, I perform till I perspire. My demons are in a rage, keep thinking that it's a game. I kick crime, hurricane, I told them I don't play, I'm liquid.
Black Street Fighter.